This is a very important message I'm trying to pass out there, because when I received this question, I knew that a lot of people needed to know this thing. A lot of people needed to get the details of this, so they don't end up wasting their money all the time. They don't end up, spending so much on unnecessary things. All right. And when I came to the UK newly 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't know. Almost 3 years ago, but 2.5. I realized that I didn't know this thing though, but I realized that if I had known what I know now, what I'm trying to share now, I would have long achieved a lot of my dreams. I would have been halfway gone. Let's go to the point. Cool down. My name is Ighonojie. Anyways, if you're new here, welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here. If you're not new here, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the family. I'm so glad. I'm not ready to make any video. I wasn't ready to shoot. I just had to quickly bring this up here. So what I was trying to say is around the aspect of education. So I'm a nurse, I'm a midwife. I went to I went to my school in Nigeria, but I didn't finish my BSc. I only did my nursing and midwifery separately. I did my ROM, registered midwifery course, 3 years. I did my registered nursing, but I couldn't stay for the end of my BSc because I had to leave. I had to come to the UK. I left in 400 level to come here and pursue my degrees, pursue my other qualifications and all that, because I thought it was really useless waiting there and waiting in the midst of strikes and all of that, incomplete verification from school. So yeah, because as we all know, is it that the school is not verified in terms of nursing, or this is the case? So why wait for them to verify before I come to complete my dreams? Why keep on waiting? You understand my point? At that point, my school was going through verification issues. They were giving them partial verifications, 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, then they'll have to renew it again. And that was really, really stressful for us students, because we weren't sure where we stand. We weren't sure what was happening. And aside that, there was this strikes going on. Oh, these people, lecturers said they are not paying them well. This one said this is not happening well. Or students, it was just too much for me to handle. And I had no idea when I would graduate, despite the fact that I was in 400 level and had 1 year left. But I didn't know when I was going to graduate, so I had to leave. I had to leave. It wasn't that I wasn't doing well, but I just decided that that was what was best for me at the moment, and I'm glad I made that decision. I wish I had made it earlier, but I was glad I made the decision. So I came into the UK, and I didn't know that on time. I didn't know on time that you could actually start your program as soon as possible. I started looking for ways to start my program, but I didn't know that I can actually start as soon as possible, like immediately, because the hospital you're working can't sponsor you. Okay, the hospital I was working would have been able to sponsor me immediately, like as soon as I came, if I had applied for that. Okay, I don't know if other hospitals, they have their different rules, but the 2 hospitals I've worked so far, the 2 NHS trusts I've worked so far, I know that they can sponsor immediately you come. So I would have just applied for any program immediately. I was looking for application, I was applying, but because of the fact that I was looking at my pockets as well, that I don't have enough money to pursue this particular program yet, let me delay it for this particular time when I'm able to stand financially on my own. But because that was what I wanted in the first place, to complete my program, go ahead, further my education, I would have applied for it immediately and then gotten my sponsorship from the hospital, because the hospital can sponsor you when you're working as a nurse, as a midwife, in a particular hospital, in a particular NHS trust. They can sponsor you if you apply for sponsor. They can sponsor the program for you, pay for it for you, but you would have to work with them for a particular number of years, a particular time, at least, I don't know what their rules are, but at least 2 years, at least 3 years, I don't know, 2 years to 3 years, depending on the trust you're working with. If depending on the sponsorship as well, if it's a little money, I think 1 year should do with them. All right, I've known this with the different places that, because before I left my other trust, they wanted to sponsor me, because they were asking me, why will I be paying for my school fees myself? Because at that time I started my program, I started my MSc, and I wanted to, I was paying myself. I told them I was paying myself. I submitted a form for them to complete for me, for my line manager to complete for me, to approve my ability to take that university. So when I submitted, that was when they knew that I was doing my program. So I told them that, probably there is no need for them to sponsor me again at this point, being that I was already leaving. But then again, if you don't intend leaving the hospital you're working, you feel comfortable, you're not leaving, you can, if you were in my shoes at that point, you would have accepted that sponsorship, or even apply for it. So you, as a nurse, as a midwife working in any hospital, instead of you delaying your program, instead of you coming through education, I've seen 1 or 2, 3 nurses coming through education to the United Kingdom. They came from Nigeria, they came from Ghana, they came as a student. All right, coming as a student, you're like doing yourself a disfavor or a disservice, because you're coming to school, you have 20 hours grace to work in a week. That's the 20 hours limit for work. You can't work more than 20 hours as a student. If you're working as a registered nurse, as a registered midwife, you come into the country as a nurse or midwife, you're employed full-time, then you can work your 37.5 hours, and you can work extra shift, extra 20 hours in a week. You see, that's a loss for you to work. But if you're coming as a student, you have that limit in your visa. You can't work more than 20 hours. So because you're a student, you can't really do much unless you convert to a work visa later on. And then when you come as a student as well, you're paying your fees by yourself, because nobody employed you, nobody's paying for you, nobody's giving you any scholarship or sponsorship or anything. So you're like paying double fees and then working less. You're paying for something you're not supposed to pay for, which is your school fees. You could easily get sponsorship and work with the hospital that sponsored you. Work with them for the certain number of years that they want you to work with them. It could be 2, 3, 4 years, but I've not seen it get to 5 years or 6 years that you have to work with them. But you can find out from any prospective trust you want to work with if they do that, and how many years do they give before you spend money, going through your education. Because education is really expensive, paying fees is really expensive. Despite the fact that my course is a part-time, and it's 2 years, like the total amount for that 2 years is like £8,000, 8,000 something pounds. So I feel like it's a lot of money to spend unnecessarily. At this point, I ended up having to pay partly for my program, and then my new trust would be paying partly, because I had already started the program before they came in, and there was nothing much I could. I started off as sponsoring myself. So you get my point. So this is why I always try to bring up videos of something that I've learned or something that I've done as a mistake or something, because I don't want you to make the same mistake. I don't want you to do the same thing wrong. Okay, if you see my other video on verification as well, you notice that thing I did it because I didn't know enough at that point. So I want to bring it out there for people that don't know enough or don't know anything at all about it, to make sure that they get this information right and on time as well. All right, so if you don't understand, let me know in the comment section. If you do and you have any questions, let me know in the comment section as well. All right, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget, let me bring it out again, an NHS trust can sponsor you. A hospital you're working as a nurse or midwife can sponsor your education, in a way that you don't even have to pay anything again. Like, it's zero funds you're paying. You don't have to pay any amount again to pay for your school fees, and you will be working with them. You're already working, you're already under sponsorship, you know, full-time workers, kid worker sponsorship. So you're there as a worker, not as a student. Your visa is for skilled worker, not as a student. And then the second thing I wanted to let you know is that instead of traveling over here to come over here as a student, you can do that as a registered nurse or midwife if you're one already. If you're not one already, of course, you know you will have to go through education to gain your degree. But that's that for that. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Have a nice day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please. Bye. It's free.